Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I look a little crazy today. I don't know why. I just feel like I am wearing a shirt, I promise. But anyways, today's video is going to be a little more serious. I'm going to be explaining what I talked about in my last video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in my update, I mentioned to you guys that I got a call from my doctor's office that something was wrong. And I kind of left you guys hanging. So a lot of you guys thought it was gestational diabetes, which it wasn't. It's something different, and I don't know. Well, first of all, let me say this might be a little boring to you guys. If you're like totally not interested in this, then just click out now, because it's going to be a lot of information about this thing that I have. It's going to be a lot of just like medical information. I'm going to be kind of explaining to you guys, trying to explain to you guys, because trust me, even for me, this is new. All this information is new to me, and it just came like completely out of nowhere. So it's a lot of information to take in, and this video might be boring for some of you, but I wanted to make it just because it's something that has really affected me, and I share a lot of my life with you guys. And I also wanted to do it in case anyone else has this, or just anyone that can relate. I wanted to make this for you guys. But like I said, if you're really not interested, then just click out now, because it's gonna be maybe a little boring for some of you guys. Also, I'm gonna try my best to explain. If I get some type of word wrong or information wrong, just know that like I said, this is all new to me, but I'm gonna try my best to explain to you guys. About 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, three weeks ago, I got a call from my doctor's office. So this wasn't my doctor, it was the assistant. I think she's the one who just calls the patients and like schedules appointments and stuff. So she calls me. She basically just said, "You're a carrier for fragile X chromosome." And I'm over here on the phone like, what? Like, excuse me? Like, what did you just say? What are you talking about? So I feel like the problem here is that she didn't know about this, and I feel like the way she called me was just very wrong. I don't think she did it in the right way, because all she told me was that they found something wrong, that I was a carrier for this, which I was just like, what the hell is this? I've never heard of this in my life. And she told me the effects that it could have on my child. So she basically said my child could have mental retardation. That's all I heard on the phone. This lady didn't know how this came up. She didn't tell me how it came up, if it came up in my blood. I had just had an ultrasound that week, so I thought maybe it came up in the ultrasound. She didn't tell me where it comes from, what it is. Like, basically all she told me was that I carried this, and that my child could come out with mental retardation. So you guys could imagine how I felt. Oh, and she also told me that they were sending me to a specialist in 2 weeks. My appointment was in 2 weeks. And I'm over here just like, what are you talking about? And I asked her, I'm like, do you have any more information on this? She's like, we don't have much information. All it says here is that you're a carrier, your child could have this. And I'm just like, oh my god. I don't know if you guys could imagine the way I felt. Some of you might think I was exaggerating. I'm exaggerating, but that was literally like such a hard emotional day for me. Not just that day, but just like the following days. Just hearing that information, and then knowing that my appointment was in 2 weeks, was killing me. Like, I was crying all day. I told my family, everyone was worried. I went to church, I was praying, and like at this point all I thought was like, wow, my baby's gonna have this. Like, I thought it was already a for sure thing. I'm telling you guys, like, they didn't explain to me well. I don't think she should have made the phone call that way at all. But I mean, But I mean, I don't know if that's their job. I don't know if she was supposed to. I just wish she would have done it some other way, because all it did was worry me. Like, I was a mess. I was crying, and you guys could imagine just hearing that. So anyways, I kind of did everything I could. I was looking up information on this, which kind of made me more scared. It was telling me what the baby could have physically and mentally, how it could affect the child. I was calling the doctor's office to see if I could get an appointment sooner, because it wasn't at my doctor's office, it's at another office, and I was going to meet with a genetic counselor. So this is like a specialist in genes, and they were going to explain to me then. But like I said, that was 2 weeks away. It was killing me not knowing like where this came from. Why am I just hearing about it? Is my baby gonna be okay? Is there gonna be a way to know if he's okay? Am I gonna have to wait until birth? So there was just so many things running through my mind, you guys could imagine. I was calling to see if I could get an appointment sooner. I wanted to be able to talk to the doctor before I went in. They weren't able to do like anything for me, basically. So a week later, I met with my doctor, which isn't the specialist, but I met with my doctor. She explained to me that this test was fairly new, so that's kind of why it didn't come up with Maricela, and it was kind of all making sense. And she did calm me down, because she was saying that nothing's for sure. Everyone around me was telling me that doctors are always like coming up with new tests, and like people were telling me that they had told them that their child was going to come out with this and that, which actually I was one of those children. The doctors had told my mom that I wasn't going to be able to walk, that I was going to have spine problems, that I was going to like basically be like handicapped, and I'm perfectly fine. So all of those little things calmed me down, and I started having a lot of faith. I was praying a lot. I mean, I still am, of course. Like, I just had a lot of faith. And I still do. I have a lot of faith that my baby boy is going to be healthy and perfect, just like Maricela, my baby girl. She's perfect. She came out completely fine. And yeah, so anyways, I'm like totally rambling on. I'm sorry, guys. That's just a lot of information, and I'm not even to the medical part yet. I was still really worried, but I was a little bit calmer. So anyways, my appointment day comes around. We waited 3 hours at this appointment. This lady was very busy. She was only there once a week, so it was a long wait. So anyways, we finally go in, and wow, did she like totally clear things up for me. Like, oh my gosh, there was so much information on all of this that I was like overwhelmed, but she totally explained everything I had to know. So let me explain to you guys a little bit about being a carrier. I am a carrier for Fragile X chromosome. So that's what it's called. So basically, this is on the X chromosome. You guys know women and men. Women are XX, men are XY. For every X chromosome, I'm telling you guys, this is all new to me. If I get something wrong, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, and you're like over here like, wow, this girl's telling this wrong, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best, okay? In the X chromosomes, there's something called CGGs. So there's pairs of CGGs, so it repeats CGG, CGG, CGG. So the number of repeats to be normal is 50. 50 to 200, I believe, is a premutation, which is what I have. A premutation, you are not affected by this mentally, it just means you're a carrier. So 50 to 200 means you're a carrier, or you have this premutation. 200 and above, that's when it affects you. And just so you guys know, the symptoms of being affected by the Fragile X chromosome is autism-like behavior. So it's basically autism characteristics. Also physically would be like a larger forehead, a longer face, and bigger ears. And then, like I said, autism characteristics, the way they act and speak and stuff like that. That is if you have the mutation fully, like that is 200 repeats or above. So Like I said, I have 2 X chromosomes. One was normal. I had 30 repeats of the CGGs. My other chromosome had 57. So, oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry, I already messed up. I think 55 CGG repeats is what's normal, and I had 57. So as you can see, that's not too high. 55 is normal. I had 57, and that's only on one of my chromosomes. What she explained to me is that since women have 2 X chromosomes, we have 2 chances. So if one fails, we have another whole chromosome to rely on. Guys only have 1 X chromosome. That's why this syndrome is most likely to affect guys, because they only have 1 X chromosome. As for girls, we have 2. I'm sorry if you guys are getting confused. I'm trying to explain as best as I can. Like I said, one of my X chromosomes has 30, the other one 57. So I was basically just being considered a carrier for the one that had 57. So the test they were getting this information from had tested my CGG repeats. So at this point, the specialist was waiting for another test that was supposed to come in that would give her a better percentage whether my child could be affected by this or not. So at the time of the appointment, she didn't have these results yet. My doctor hadn't sent them to her yet. But what this test was gonna test for was, alright, so you guys know how I said there's CGG repeats? In between the CGG repeats, there is something called ACG repeats. I really hope I'm saying this right. So I did another test to see how many ACG repeats I had. So the more of the ACG repeats I had in between the CGGs was going, like, the more the better basically, because that gives you more like blank space between the CGGs. So she said basically if I had 0 ACG repeats, the percentage of my baby getting this mutation was going to be like 85%, which is huge, obviously. But she said if I had more, 1, 2, I don't know exactly how many you could have, the less risk that your baby could have this. At that time, she didn't have those test results, so it was just very like, you guys could imagine how I was, like, all this information. I was so confused. Why is this coming out of nowhere? It's hereditary, so I either got it from my mom or my dad. We don't know. I told her, like, this has never came up in my family. It's very weird. I'm the first one to find this out. Like, my sisters have had kids. So another thing is that women can pass it down to their daughters or sons. Dads can only pass it down to their daughters. So that kind of made more sense to me. Since I am my dad's only daughter, I thought maybe I'm the only one with this, and that's why this has never came up, because my brothers wouldn't know. But it was just very confusing to me. I asked her, why is this barely coming up? It didn't come up with my daughter, and she said it's a new test that they have been doing, and that's probably why, because it is like fairly new. They didn't test me for this with Maricela. So this is all just like hit me out of nowhere. I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Like, when they first called me, I was like, do I have this? Like, have this mutation? Like, is this affecting my brain? Like, have I had this my whole life and I didn't know? But then I found out that if you have the pre-mutation or if you're a carrier, it doesn't affect you that way. The things that they did say, there are some symptoms to it, like most likely to be depressed, I think anxiety, they said, early menopause, irregular periods, and problems with conception, which I do have some of those. Back to the test results. She basically told me that once she got those results that she would call me right away and let me know, so we could just have the percentage, so we can know, like, is there a really high chance of my baby boy coming out with this, or is there a very low chance, or what? Because the only other way to know right now if he does have something is amniocentesis. Most of you guys are probably familiar with that. It's where they stick the needle through your belly button. They take out amniotic fluid, but there are many risks to that, and I would never do that. It's not going to change anything. The only thing that's going to do is let me know ahead of time if my baby has something, and whether he does or doesn't, I'm going to love him exactly the same. It's not going to change my mind about anything at all. So I'm like, there's really no reason to take it. I can wait until birth, and I'm not going to risk my baby like that. Get an ultrasound done, we leave the place, and a couple hours later I get a call from her. I was in the car with Dario and we were driving to San Diego, and I was just like, oh my god, I was so nervous. You guys could imagine, like, this percentage was gonna mean a lot. So she calls me and she tells me that I had 2 ACG repeats in between the CGGs. So 2 is very good. Like I said, the more you have of those, the better. And she told me with my results, with both of those test results, the percentage of my baby boy having that mutation was less than 1%. And you guys can imagine how freaking happy I was. Like, right now I want to like freaking cry, because it's just like a huge relief, and it's just amazing news. Even though of course we don't know anything, we don't really know what's going on in there, but even if they had given me a high percentage, I would have still had faith that he was going to be okay. But the fact that they gave me less than 1%, and this is with all my pregnancies, it's not just this pregnancy, because I was already thinking, wow, I wanted more kids in the future. Is this going to affect, like could this affect my kids? This might stop me from wanting more kids. You just don't want to risk it with things like that. But the fact that it is less than 1% with all of my pregnancies is just so amazing. And I just, wow. And I feel so blessed. I'm so thankful, and I couldn't be more thankful, like, that my baby boy, I know he's gonna be okay. I know he's perfect in there. I know he's gonna have a normal life. And you guys, the love a mother has for their kids is just amazing. It's crazy. It's freaking out of this world. Like wow, your kids mean absolutely everything to you. And even though he's not out yet, I freaking adore him with all my heart. Him and Maricela are just my world. My voice cracks when I talk a lot, guys. I'm sorry, but that's what I've been going through the past 2 weeks, and it was extremely hard. If you've never been through something like this, if you're not a mother, then maybe you won't understand, but just know that it's completely different once you're actually going through it. It's a lot harder, and wow, it just completely changes your point of view. Like, it just teaches you to be so much more grateful, to not take things for granted, your health, your kids' health, your family's health, because it's scary. It's very scary. And for the people who are actually going through stuff like this, like, props to you, because it's freaking hard and you're so incredibly strong. But like I said, I know my baby boy is gonna be okay. I know he's gonna come out healthy and perfect, and I can't wait to meet him. And yeah, but thank you guys so much for your support on my last video, and just in general, thank you guys for your support. I love you guys so much. I tried to tell you guys as much information as I could without confusing you guys too much. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.